As we have seen in the last lecture, it is relatively easy to calculate the flowing current when using just one resistor. But how can we calculate the current that flows in a circuit if we use more than one? In this lecture, you will learn about resistors in series and parallel circuits. Further, you will be taught Kirchhoff's laws, which will help you to analyze complex circuits, and you will hear about short circuits as well.
Today's video is brought to you for free by JLC PCB, the go-to platform for PCB prototyping and manufacturing. I've been using JLC PCB since I started designing PCBs. They've consistently delivered exceptional quality and reliability. Ordering from JLC PCB is seamless, especially if you're using the design software EasyEDA, which integrates perfectly with their manufacturing process. Whether you're building your first project or working on advanced designs, JLC PCB offers quick turnaround times, competitive pricing, and a level of precision that I trust for all my projects. Check them out at jlcpcb.com and see why so many makers rely on them.
In the example with the single resistor, the 9 volts of the battery drop across the resistor. If we add a second resistor in series, the total voltage drop across both resistors must still be 9 volts. The electric potential difference provided by the lab bench power supply did not change. Consequently, the voltage drop across the individual resistors must be less, so that they have a voltage drop of 9 volts together. If we want to know the flowing current in this schematic, we have to apply Ohm's law again, which requires us to use a single resistance only. To do that, we have to calculate the equivalent resistance of the two single resistances. This sequential arrangement of the two resistors is called a series circuit. For resistors in series, the total resistance is found by adding their resistances together. So R total is equal to R1 plus R2 plus ... Let's add a second resistor with the color code red, black, red, gold. The red and black represent a digit of 20, while the third red represents a multiplier of 100. Gold again represents a tolerance of plus minus 5%. So we have a resistance value of 2 kiloohms with plus minus 5%. If we add R2 to R1, we get a total resistance of 3 kiloohms. By recalculating the current with this equivalent resistor, we get a current of 3 milliamps. In our water pipeline analogy, the resistance is analogous to the diameter of the tube. If we add a second resistor in series to the first in our circuit, we increase the total resistance and as a result decrease the current. Similarly, decreasing the diameter of the pipe in our analogy would increase the resistance to water flow, just as adding a second resistor increases the resistance in an electric circuit. Let's create a similar test circuit again. We use the 100 ohm resistor from before again and now add a 220 ohm resistor indicated by red, red, black, black, brown. This results in a total resistance of 320 ohm. We supply 9 volt again, which results in a current of 28.125 milliamp. And as we can see, the lab bench power supply indicates 0.02 amps. You have to be aware that our lab bench measures currents only with an accuracy in the range of milliamperes. So the 20 milliamps we got here indicate that our calculation was again correct. There is a second way to add a resistor called in parallel. In this example, a total of 9 volts would drop across each resistor. If we now wanted to calculate the equivalent resistance, we have to add their inverses. 1 over R total is equal to 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2 plus ... If we do this in our example, we have to add 1 over 1000 ohm plus 1 over 2000 ohm to get 1 over the total resistance, resulting in an equivalent resistance of 666.66 ohms, which means that the current increased compared to the first example. We would now get a flowing current of 13.5 milliamps. You could compare adding a second resistor in parallel to adding a second tube in our water pipeline. A second tube would allow more water to flow through, effectively increasing the total flow rate, just as adding a second resistor in parallel decreases the total resistance and increases the current flow. Let's arrange a similar test circuit again. We use the two resistors, the 100 ohm one and the 220 ohm one from before, and hook them up in a parallel arrangement. The equivalent resistance is 68.75 ohm, which results in a current of 130.9 milliamps. As you can see, our calculation was correct again. To get a more vivid understanding of what exactly happens in the circuit, we also need to discuss Kirchhoff laws. Kirchhoff laws are fundamental in circuit analysis and consist of two main principles. One of Kirchhoff's laws states that in a closed loop, the sum of the directed voltages must be zero. If we look at our example with the single resistor again, we see that the battery provides a voltage from the plus pole to the minus pole of 9 volts, while the resistor has a voltage drop in the opposite direction of also 9 volts. If we account for the direction, we get 9 volts minus 9 volts, resulting in a sum voltage of the closed loop of 0. If you look at our second example with the two resistors in series, we can see why the total voltage across them must again be 0 and why the individual voltage drop across each resistor must be less. If we insert an equivalent resistance, the voltage drop must again be 9 volts, as the sum in a closed loop must always be 0 according to this law. In reality, each of the two resistors has an individual voltage drop, the first 3 volts and the second one 6 volts. In total, 9 minus 6 minus 3 volts again results in a net 0 voltage. We can calculate the specific voltage drops by using Ohm's law again, this time reformulated for the voltage. U is equal to R times I. 1000 ohm times 0.003 amps is equal to 3 volts, while 2000 ohms times 0.003 amps is equal to 6 volts. Remember, we were only able to calculate the current because we used an equivalent series resistance. So before we can calculate the voltage drop across each resistor, we will always have to calculate the current. The same principle applies to our series test circuit with the 100 ohm and 220 ohm resistors. We know that the flowing current should be 28.125 milliamps. So if we multiply this current with the resistances, we get 2.8 volts and 6.2 volts, which together is exactly 9 volts. The other Kirchhoff's law states that in a circuit, the current splits in a junction. In any given node in a circuit, the total amount of current must be 0. The current that flows into a node must be the same as the current that flows out of the node. If we think about the concept, it makes perfect sense, as otherwise energy would be lost. In our first and second resistor circuit examples, we do not have any junctions, so let's immediately analyze circuit 3. We first can apply the rule of net zero loops, so we can immediately identify that the voltage drop across resistor 1 and resistor 2 both must be 9 volts. If we calculate the currents for both paths, we get 9 volts over 1000 ohms is equal to 9 milliamps for current 1, and 9 volts over 2000 ohm is 4.5 milliamps for current 2. If we want to know the current flowing before the junction or the current that the battery provides, we have to apply Kirchhoff's current law. The sum of currents must be 0 in a node. Therefore, the input current must be the same as the sum of the two output currents. I is equal to I1 plus I2 is equal to 13.5 milliamps, the exact same value as calculated before. In addition, it's important to note that according to Kirchhoff's current law, the current remains constant along a single line or branch of the circuit. This principle is logical, as the electrons that move into one side of the conductor must move out of the other side, much like how water that enters a tube must eventually leave the tube. To illustrate Kirchhoff's voltage law in a little bit more depth, let's consider the following scenario. Instead of connecting one pole of the battery to a resistor and then to the other pole of the battery, we could also connect one battery pole directly to the other battery pole. The voltage would want to push the electrons from the minus pole to the plus pole. Remember, the number of electrons that can flow per second depends on the resistance that is standing in the way of the electrons. In this case, the only resistance standing in the way is the resistance of the wire and the internal resistance of the battery. This resistance is very small and corresponds to a water tube with an almost infinite diameter, which means that the flow rate of our current is astronomically high. Still, the voltage drop across the wire and the internal resistance will be 9 volts, as the sum of net voltages is 0. The amount of current flowing is way too much in this scenario. The electrons are moving at such a rapid speed that they create an immense rise in temperature. Either the wire or our battery will fail mechanically only moments after the current begins to flow. Accidentally connecting a plus to the minus pole is what we call in electronic terms a short circuit. When connecting the positive and negative crocodile clamp of our lab bench power supply, a short circuit is also created. However, it's essential to note that the power supply incorporates protective features designed to mitigate potential risks. One of these features is a current limiting mechanism which caps the flow of current to a maximum of 10 amps. Do not try this at home though. As electrical engineers, we do our best to avoid short circuits at any cost, as they can destroy our circuits and components, initiate fire or even harm somebody. To summarize, if you use multiple resistors, we have to use an equivalent series resistance to calculate the current in the circuit. We differentiate between putting a resistor in series and parallel. In series, we add the resistances of the single resistors together, which can be compared to decreasing the size of the diameter in the water tube. When putting resistors in parallel, we add the reciprocals of the resistances together to receive the reciprocal of the equivalent resistor. Even though we added a second resistor, we still increase the current. It is like adding a second tube to the water pipeline. Even if the added tube is small, it would still increase the overall flow rate. Further, we learned that the directional sum of the voltages in a closed loop must be 0, and that the sum of the currents in a node must be 0 as well. We talked about a short circuit, which occurs when the positive and negative poles of the power supply are connected directly, either accidentally or due to a fault in the circuit. This creates a path of very low resistance, allowing a large amount of current to flow through the circuit. This can cause significant damage to components, generate excessive heat, and potentially lead to fires or other hazards. Therefore, it is crucial to avoid short circuits at all times.
The full course is available on Udemy.